Hi, this is John again. This is my Lab 7 Part 1 of the TI-RSLK, the Robot System Learning Kit, with the road test that I'm doing for Element 14. So in this particular lab, they have what you go through in the curriculum is learning about finite state machines. And for that, it's basically for like the line follower. If it's following a line and then it goes offline, or if it goes left and then it goes offline, or it does something like that. So that was the basic intent of that, is to basically to control that. So I'm not using the line sensor, using the actual MSP432 with the two buttons to simulate that. And in the lab, they have these states. They create an array of finite state machines, and then they have these set up to where this value is the output, the first value, and then this is the time that it's going to be when the input changes, it's going to change this, and then this would be the output, and then it does that for 5 milliseconds, and then depending on where it's going to go next, so these will be the next states that it goes into. If it's going to be center, if basically both buttons press, it's going to be center, so it's going to sit here and circulate in center. But the way they have it set up, actually center is 0, so when there's no buttons pressed, it will stay in the center, stay here, but it goes right actually. So it starts in the center, then it goes right, and it stays in here. And that's the problem. So it's basically, if there is no buttons pressed, it goes basically in a circle. Also, the transition from one state to the next, if you release a button and you release both buttons, then it periodically will go either into one of these states. So basically it'll either go right left or left right or left center. It doesn't seem to go in the right place all the time. So the second part of the lab, you're supposed to correct that. You're adding more state machines, you're adding more transitions and things like that. So that's going to be taken care of in lab 2. And so if I just go ahead, and I already have this loaded up and compiled, I have it running in the debugger, and then if I start it, you see the output went to 3, which is indicated with the LEDs. There's no input. So it should stay, oh, see, it started in center, and then it went to the next state since it's 0. So it went right, basically. So it went 1, or it was indicating right, so I think it goes left. So it should stay there like that, as long as there's no buttons pressed. So if I press both, indicating it's actually on a line, then the input goes to 3, and then the output goes to 3, and then that's where it goes. So if I release one, so the input goes to 1, and the output should go to the next one, which is 2. So it goes the opposite way. So it went left, should go right. If it goes right, it should go left. The other thing, it does toggle. I'm not quite sure why, but it'll actually toggle between the two. And then if I press both of them, it goes back to the center. So that's fine and dandy when we're in the debug. So let me stop this and come back out to here. And then now it's running. So you see they have basically a heartbeat that's set up to blink, indicating that it's alive. So now if I press both switches, it goes to center, it should go yellow. But if I release one and then I release it, so it went and stayed in that state. So that's kind of the wrong behavior that it's supposed to do. So it kind of stayed there, it didn't go back and cycle to where it should. Let's see if I can go the other way. So it kind of stays. See, I can get this one to go. Yeah, so I did the same thing on that one. Now it went to a different state than it did the previous time. So it's that went there. So I'll hold on to a little bit more. Now it stays green. So it's either going to go right or left. So that's a behavior that we're supposed to correct in the second part of the lab. So the second part of the lab, you have it set up to where now you have 2 rights and 2 lefts, and they're different states. In one state it's going to go, if it went left, you're going to go right, and then you're going to go straight. And then, but if it goes offline, that's another one. So if it's off the line completely, like I released the buttons, then it should go the opposite direction. So if it was in the left state, it should go right, and then it goes straight. And if it's still off the line, then it should stop. So that's kind of the behavior that's going to be corrected. And so that's the second part of the lab that I'm going to have to take care of. I do have the IR sensors connected, and I could set those up, but I haven't done that. I don't have the motors set up yet. I don't have those coded up to start running. So that's going to be one of the next labs. But that's pretty much the first part of Lab 1 or Lab 7. So I'll go on to the second half.